Welcome to St. Augustine this evening, the Mike Davis Show. And boy, do we have a great show for you tonight.
Of course.
It is going to be awesome. It's me and your ever-loving producer, Amanda, are here. We have all kinds of things to talk about. There's nothing that ever happens on the weekend in the news,
Never.
Especially considering Donald Trump. But we will talk about all of that along with a whole bunch of other issues.
Yep.
But before we get to that, we got to make a little bit of money for the show.
Okay.
So we're going to do some ad reads.
Sounds good.
All right, let's step into the world of support and healing with Epic Behavioral Healthcare. For over 50 years, Epic has been a beacon of hope for our community, providing compassionate care for those touched by substance abuse, mental health disorders, whether you're a kid, teen, adult, couple, or family. Epic is here to lend a helping hand. With a range of programs tailored to meet diverse needs, Epic offers accessible solutions for everyone, from their walk-in access center to their mobile response team. From inpatient detoxification to outpatient counseling, Epic provides comprehensive care every step of the way. Their services include psychiatric evaluations, medication management, medication-assisted treatment, care coordination, peer support, suicide prevention training, parent education, and so much more. You can visit Epic online, or you can give them a call at 904. No, that's Davey's number. I don't want to give that one. I don't want to do that. Just go visit Epic. You can get them online. If I give Davey's number out, oh, man.
The phone calls.
The phone calls that I'll start.
Well, I mean, Davey gives his number out a lot. Everyone knows Davey.
Everybody knows. If you know
But
Davey, you already got his number.
if he's got you blocked, we don't want to give out that number again.
No, we don't want to do that. He'll never know. It's blocked. He'll never know. It's the beauty of blocking.
Opening their doors in 2008, Brightway Insurance, the Casey agency, has proudly stood by their customers through hurricanes, major floods, hail, and fires. Through these events, the agency has become a much-needed insurance resource in times of trouble and hardship. Honesty and integrity are the pillars of our core values, says owner Ashley Casey. We pride ourselves on being insurance experts while developing strategies that help our clients meet their insurance needs. They truly enjoy the relationships that they have forged with you, St. Augustine. So for all of your insurance needs, Brightway Insurance, the Casey agency, give them a call. They love you. We've got Powell Heating and Air Conditioning. They opened their doors 39 years ago, and customer service has been evident in everything they do for almost 4 decades. From the moment they answer your call until the time they leave your home, they are working to make you comfortable and confident about the care and service you receive from Powell. They have a fleet of 10 plus trucks, a 15,000 square foot warehouse stocked with parts and equipment, and they are ready to serve you around the clock. They service all heating and air conditioning brands. Their emergency service is always open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, including nights, weekends, and holidays. Powell Heating and Air Conditioning.
All right. And the Moultrie Creek Diner and Anastasia Diner. These are neighborhood diners that are more than just a place to eat. They're where hospitality blooms and friends gather. Bring your own friends or make new ones. The coffee is always hot. The smiles are genuine and the food tastes like home. Every meal is a chance to make memories, share stories, and create bonds that last a lifetime. It's not just about the food on the plate, but the community that comes together at the table. Come see us at Moultrie Creek Diner, Anastasia Diner, and tell them Andy sent you. You want a big discount, you got to say something like Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs. And for those of us that are Gators and Knowles, we might as well cheer for somebody who's winning this year.
Can't say Go
Because it
Dogs.
isn't going to be us.
I mean, we've won one.
We've won one. Yes, we've won one. Darn it.
People are calling you.
I know. It's my father-in-law.
You're a busy man.
It's my
Sorry.
father-in-law.
Do you want me to text Darcy?
No, I texted him. So yeah, I'm hoping that I don't get in trouble. So I haven't done anything bad lately, mostly. All right, we have all kinds of community updates.
We do.
First one, if you live on the island or anywhere near a low-lying area, today is the first day of the King Tide Alert.
Gracious.
So King Tides are from the 16th to the 22nd.
That's what we need, more
which
water.
is pretty much this entire week. So we have one full week of King Tides. The tide coincides with severe weather conditions, heavy rain, strong winds, and big waves. Keep an eye out for the following high tides this fall. And if you really love the King Tide, just hold on, because there's a week in October, November, December, January, because January had to overachieve. So we'll keep letting you know, but from the 16th to the 22nd, King Tide Alert Just watch if you're driving. Look, if you live here, you know the areas that flood.
Yeah.
And I don't have my high tide watch on, so I can't tell you when the tide
Did Troy get his no wake zone signs for his front yard yet?
Well, pretending I was a political opponent of his, I stole them all.
How's surfing during
Just
a king tide?
Just like a regular tide.
Yeah?
Actually, the one thing that does happen, there are certain breaks that if you get too much water on them, they don't break as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes these king tides, like if you know your break pretty well and you go, well, it's like a mid-tide break.
Mm-hmm.
You might have to surf it an hour earlier than mid-tide because at the mid-tide, it'll be like an hour past mid-tide. And so you have to kind of do some surfing math in your head.
Math. This is why I don't surf.
Just got to figure it out. Yeah.
This is one of many reasons why I don't surf.
Tim says there's 12 slabs left.
That's good because we had more than 4 dozen left this weekend?
12 slabs.
So
for the
just
Jimmy
12?
Jam fundraiser.
Nice.
For Patricia Farrell.
Good job, everybody. Go get your ribs.
Pat Farrell. I think I know Pat Farrell.
That's 2 people that qualify for breakfast,
Mm-hmm.
and then 1 person that has 2 slabs left.
Yeah. You guys got
Get
this.
it. 5 slabs gets you breakfast.
Pat Farrell.
Is that still going on, Tim? Let me know.
Tim said 33.
Okay,
One
so almost
point
3
in time.
dozen
Almost.
this weekend.
Now we're down to 12.
Now we're down to 12.
We're rocking. We are rocking.
Order
All right.
dinner, y'all.
Also, Epicure. So Epicure's friends of the show. They've been on the show
Mhm.
a bunch. They're just a great nonprofit. So they've had something come up that they need some help with.
Okay.
So Epicure needs some help. Their big, audacious goal of raising $100,000 to keep up the work. So Epicure is a 100% volunteer-driven nonprofit founded in 2018. It's been a lifeline for thousands of people in Northeast Florida's most underserved communities. However, they're having a little bit of a problem because they found out that the lease that they had in Putnam County, they're going to lose early.
Oh my goodness.
So they have until December 1st of this year to vacate the building, a space that they've called home since May of 2020. The facility is critical to their ability to provide free food to thousands of vulnerable families in Putnam County, one of the poorest regions in Florida, where the poverty rate, do you know what the poverty rate in Putnam County is?
No.
23%.
Dang, almost a quarter.
Yes. It says an unemployment rate of 43.6, but I'm not sure that I'm hoping Ken got that right. Disability rate of 20%, all well above Florida state averages. Not just a story of numbers, stories of people, seniors, children, veterans, and individuals with disabilities that rely on Epicure for their next meal.
Mm-hmm.
So they need $100,000 in their GoFundMe to be able to fix up a new building to get through the USDA, excuse me, I was going to say FDA, but the USDA inspection.
Mm-hmm.
So once they do that, they can get that building up and running, but they only have until December to do that. So if
That's
you are so
wild.
inclined, I think I sent you the GoFundMe page and the link and everything.
Okay, if I can get on the internet, I'll add it.
All right. Amanda will add it. If not,
My laptop is not playing nice with the internet today. I'm going to have to go home and fix it.
we'll be reading this again tomorrow
Mhm.
because it's a really important thing to let you know. Epicure needs some help and they're a great organization. So, yeah, Bobby, my contacts need to be replaced, but also there's a couple of articles that I printed today that a 5-year-old could read, but somebody that's 58 is going to have a hard time reading it. I mean, I can read it at a certain angle if I squint, but yeah, I just had to break them out.
I didn't bring my glasses today.
I really don't like to break them out, but I really have them. All right. We have a local story about a developer.
Mm-hmm.
And this story came out of the Jacksonville Business Journal, but it's federal judge rules in favor of St. Johns County in a case against a developer. So those of you that think that these developers are running roughshod, St. Johns County actually won one.
All right.
The dispute is about a developer's responsibility to widen a 3-mile section of State Road 16 between San Giacomo Road and the eastern entrance to the Grand Oaks subdivision. The developer has yet to complete the work, which has more than tripled in cost since the project
Good gracious.
was approved by the county or declared in default. So the developer said, yes, if you allow me to build all these homes, as we build the homes, we'll widen the road. The projected cost was around $16 million to widen the road. That estimate is from about 2016.
Mm-hmm.
So it's obviously before you had all of the inflation that we have due to COVID and the pandemic and the response to that.
Mhm.
The work on State Road 16 has not been done in part because the cost of the project now has reached $60 million or more.
Mhm.
However, the developer committed to the improvements no matter what the cost. So the developer said, hey, we're just going to give you $16 million and call it even. And the county said, no, you said you'd do it at any cost. You got it at any cost. It's yours. You got to do it.
Yeah.
So county went to court with them. The federal judge sided with the county, and now the developer is on the hook. Now, I have no idea where this goes next.
This reminds me of James Madison's first big case. Sorry, I'm a dork. Go ahead.
Well, at least you didn't say, Captain Kirk's first big mission, but go ahead.
It's American history. James Madison's first big case as a lawyer, he actually had to try against his uncle that he was named after.
Mm-hmm.
So the locals in the town, in the area, they were required to pay a certain amount to the clergy. And there had been fine print where you could either pay it in money or you could pay it in crops. And when the price of crops changed and the clergy could make a killing on it and shortchange the farmers, they were demanding it in what would be more lucrative for them and would hurt the farmers financially. So they took the case to the king. I believe it was the king, and the king sided with the clergy because who wants to side against the clergy? So they sued. And James
Well, they
Madison,
did let the family get rid of a few wives that weren't reproducing.
Yeah.
Just saying there might have been a favor to the clergy. Maybe.
So
Wasn't alive back then, just speculation.
James Madison had to argue against the clergy, and he won the case.
Yeah.
But it started out rough. His dad was the judge, and his dad was pretty embarrassed with his rough start. And but he ended up giving an amazing closing argument that won the case. So it's kind of David
Did
versus
Thomas
Goliath.
Jefferson write the closing argument?
Mm-mm.
Just saying.
James Madison.
James Madison.
Mhm.
That's not, okay. Not
Madison.
Adams.
Yes.
John Adams. Okay.
Yeah.
Had so much fun with that story last week. I just couldn't let it go.
But that was the first sign that James Madison was a great orator.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know a line of his today, even if we don't know that we know it.
And what is that, Miss Nerd?
Give me liberty or give me death.
It's Patrick Henry.
Am I saying the wrong person? Patrick Henry's first case. It's been a long day. All the rest of it was true.
Okay. All right. You're not a nerd.
I'm a nerd. I'm just not a successful
You're a
nerd.
wannabe nerd right now.
I'm a nerd, not a successful
You're
one.
a poser.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I have no idea that I'm even on the right case with you or the right person, but Give Me Liberty or Death was Patrick Henry.
I'll come back tomorrow.
Yeah, Patrick Henry.
It might be Patrick Henry.
I never remembered that story about Madison. The only one I remember about Madison is that he was in the White House. So,
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, gosh. But anyway, so that's the update on the developers responsible for doing the road. Also, Davey did an amazing video last week.
He did. I shared
If
it.
you have not, did you shoot the video?
I shared it.
Oh, I thought you said you shot the video.
No.
Sure. So
shared it.
Davey's video was absolutely awesome.
Great.
It's two men that are going through ALS right now.
Mhm.
They're doing swim therapy
Yep.
at the University of St. Augustine.
Mm-hmm.
Davey did an absolutely amazing interview.
Yeah.
And the two gentlemen in there were absolutely wonderful and great. I actually sent it to a friend of mine who has ALS.
Mhm.
And just, and then I get a real announcement today from Alicia Bailey that this Davey video is out there. That's it. It's gone viral. Alicia Bailey has picked it up and it is going everywhere. So
Yeah, it was a great
Davey,
interview.
you have made the big time. You're being mentioned in emails by Alicia Bailey, who is one of the huge fundraisers in Northeast Florida for ALS.
Yeah.
Because the walk is coming up. I think it's the 26th of October.
October. I'll be there.
I'm going to be there.
I hear there's a team that I'm on. If not, I'll buy my way in.
Davey will get you on a team. Davey will 100% get you on a team. All right. Before we get to the big news of the weekend, those of you that are Jags, Gators, and Knowles fans, I just advise you to hang it up.
Sad story.
I just think you got to just hang
How
this year up, move on. Next year's only 11 and a half months away, but it's better to look forward to that than to watch what you have in front of you for the next 10 weeks.
Yeah.
It's gross.
Football's hard, guys.
It's just not fun.
Football's hard. How did the Dolphins do on Thursday?
They lost Tua, and I think they lost their game.
Okay.
So Tua Tagovailoa, unfortunately,
It's very hard to say.
has had a history. Tua has had a history of concussions.
He was in Alabama, right?
Played in Alabama, won a national
he
championship.
Was a standout there.
Andy, what school is that against? Just asking. That's it. My diner privileges have been revoked for asking that one question.
How many cookies you owe?
I am so in trouble now.
Yeah, you're done.
But they've won natties since then. We haven't. He has had multiple concussions.
Mm-hmm.
He had a couple last year.
Oh man.
So he actually, this is the scary part of this. As my son put it, watching the thing live Thursday,
mm-hmm.
he ran headfirst into the chest of the player for the Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
I think it's Devin Hamlin that had the heart issue on the field.
Oh.
So Reese said he was afraid for both of them as they collided because like the weakest part of both players. Buffalo Bills player was okay. Tua was tested for concussion, and that's when they figured out. And that's when I figured out that he was that he had another one. So he is in. He's in the protocol, and then there are some people saying, "Hey, you might not want to play football anymore." You got to begin to wonder if you have multiples of those, how long you should stay.
Yeah, because he's notably had what you said 3.
He's had more than 3, I think.
Dude, that we know of.
Yeah, that you know of, and you don't know how many may or may not have had in high school.
Yeah,
that went undiagnosed. And the coach just said, "Yeah, you're okay. Shake it off and get back in there."
So forcible conduct with his helmet against Damar Hamlin.
That's it.
Okay. So he was one of the ones that had a heart issue on the field. Was that the one that like just fell?
Yeah.
Okay.
Barbara Jean of the Vikings 2-0. Just asking.
She's saying skull. She's happy.
She should be happy.
She's
I think
happy.
the Vikings are 2-0.
Oh no.
I've given up on football, Barbara Jean, so I'm like the worst person to ask right now.
We were at my daughter's birthday dinner last night when Taylor's boyfriend's team won.
I have news for that tomorrow.
By the hair on their chinny chin chins, they just barely made it.
I have news for that tomorrow to share. Taylor Swift news once again to share with you and Davey.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. It's a thing, and we'll share the news tomorrow.
The thing.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So that was, my daughter was distracted. My daughter was distracted at a family dinner because of a football game. Another reason to not like Taylor Swift.
Well, and I just want to know how Swifties feel that Harrison Buckner kicked the winning field goal.
So my daughter is in the Swifties for Trump camp.
Yes.
Based on her research, that's what she's decided. So when our Democrat friend said that was going to be the difference maker in the election,
yep.
I was like, I know a lot of Swiftie fans that were really disappointed in that endorsement, ranging in lots of ages from voters to soon-to-be voters. So yeah, my daughter was very, very happy that it was Butker.
Yeah.
She wants a Butker jersey.
Listen, it was
she
the number
also
one
wants a Travis Kelce jersey. She wants both. I'm like, sister, you're in the wrong family. You want way too much stuff.
You need a job.
Yeah.
You need a job. And that's
she wants to talk to you about that.
She wants a job. That's it.
She's really interested in construction ever since her mission trip. So she wants to talk to you
Bobby
about
says Florida School Deaf and Blind won over Tennessee School for the Deaf 54-0.
Nice.
So Bobby, just out of curiosity,
Bobby, we're playing each other next
was it at the middle school or the preschool team that the Tennessee team went for the? It's an old joke. Congratulations to Florida.
You're not allowed to make those jokes.
I know.
I'm playing
54-0 is a beatdown.
That's a beatdown.
That's a beatdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about what's going to happen to Florida State the next few weekends.
NCSU, aren't they? on Saturday? I think they are.
They might be.
I think we're going up against the Wolf Pack.
You and Bobby can bet lunch. You can bet lunch at the diner. Andy, be glad to have you guys there. I had a hamburger at the diner on Saturday. It was awesome.
I can't lose.
So good. It was such a good burger.
I might lose, and I can't lose. Maybe, Bobby.
All right. So, any other non-important big news before we get to the really big news?
Well, did you have a good weekend?
I had a great weekend.
Yeah.
I got to cut my grass. While I could still see my house from the road, I got to cut my grass.
Yeah.
And then once I had the grass cut, I started building the ark.
Yeah.
So that way we're covered. I can have most of the ark built before it rains so much that the grass will get up and I have to cut it again.
Well, you'll have a nice out to a waterway from your house.
I think it'll just float away. We'll go right out in the intercoastal. We've had so much rain. I can't remember a September that's had this much rain. And then in Florida what happens after the rain hits. The mosquitoes.
They've already started.
I went to cut the grass Saturday. I had to stop after 5 minutes, go inside and douse myself with bug spray.
Yeah.
It was like it's
terrible.
I just took the cap off and just took a shower with it.
Yeah.
And then they kind of left me alone for a little while. And then I also stopped by yesterday to the hardware store, and I got a brand new squirrel-proof bird feeder.
Which squirrel-proof bird? Which number is this? How many?
This is only my
third, right?
This is the third. I had the original one that the squirrels left alone for forever, but there's one squirrel that the neighbors have named Loco. They've called him Loco because Loco eats everything.
Yeah.
He eats the flowers off their plants, eats the flowers off mine. I have a plant that's this tall, and Loco runs and jumps on the stem of the plant, knocks it over so that then he can eat the flower. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's the most destructive squirrel. So Loco was the one that figured out how to get to the bird feeder that is underneath a roof overhang that should be really difficult to do. Mm-hmm. He basically has to hang from his feet off the gutter, grab the wire, slide down the wire, and then he has to hang from his feet off the roof to get to the... It's not an easy thing to do.
What's Tom Cruise's character in Mission Impossible?
It's rather impressive to watch.
Yeah.
Ethan Hunt.
It's
rather impressive to watch. But it's aggravating because I can put birdseed out on Saturday morning and it's gone by Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. So I got another bird feeder. It had a little base at the bottom. Mm-hmm. He got on that base so much, he actually broke the base. So then he couldn't hang off of it anymore. I fixed the base so the birds could eat there again. And then I went out the other day and my floodlight next to the bird house feeder was broken, and I went to fix it and change the bulb, and then I realized not only did the squirrel break the bulb, he broke the entire fixture.
Dude.
So apparently he was rocking or jumped on it or Lord only knows what, but he broke the entire fixture. Mm-hmm. So now I got to get that fixed. It's like, dude.
Gorilla Glue will fix it.
I was very upset by that. But anyway, so I bought a brand new bird feeder. It's about this tall.
I know, because we have one that broke.
It's about this tall, and it's got 4 little pieces down the bottom for the birds to sit on. Mm-hmm. But as soon as a squirrel touches the 4 little pieces at the bottom, it drops. Mm-hmm. So no longer can he get any food out of there. So right next to this bird feeder is the wind chime. Mm-hmm. So the squirrel has tried unsuccessfully to get this one to get into it. Darcy said she heard the wind chime go off 3 times in about 5 minutes, which means he crashed and burned into the wind chime multiple times. So I have not had a chance to watch yet, but I'm very much looking forward to watching the epic fail. So then he went to the other bird feeder that he broke that I fixed again, and he'll eat out of that. But once all that's gone, there's only going to be one bird feeder up for a while. Mm-hmm. Buddy, you can try all you want. Mm-hmm. 2 can play at this game. And he ate my flower again the other day.
Have you added cayenne?
Yes. He just rubs that on his hands and his face.
He doesn't care.
Doesn't care. I put cayenne pepper on the plants that he eats, the flowers. Dude's, he's got a stomach that I'm in envy of. Yeah. It doesn't, I went out there one day, just dumped the cayenne pepper on that thing.
Not a thing. They taste like chicken.
Not a thing. The cayenne pepper, the squirrels, yeah.
The squirrels.
He's not that big and fat, but he is very acrobatic.
High in cholesterol.
It might be. This one's high in cayenne pepper. I'd be afraid to take a bite of this one.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? Hey,
No.
he's pre-marinated.
No. They're just, it's just aggravating because the flower that eats is one of my favorite plants that I take care of in the backyard.
Uh-huh.
And it's just aggravating to watch the damage that this one squirrel has done to that. And then the other is the birds, which I love sitting watching the birds feed. And would not mind sharing, but when you eat the entire thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then occasionally he'll bring like the whole crew. He brings his posse.
Yeah.
So he's the only one that hangs off the bird feeder. He'll be hanging off the bird feeder, shaking it, and they're all down at the bottom like, come on, Loco, let's get some bird seed. And I'll walk around the corner, like 8 of them will go running. I know eventually it's going to be like a squirrel gang from Venezuela, and I'm going to get shot at when I walk out there. They're
Mike's
taking
gonna
over
come
the
home
backyard.
after the podcast.
I can't do the
Darcy's
podcast
traveling.
today because squirrel attacked me in the backyard. Yeah.
I feel like the Swedish Chef and the lobsters.
Oh, Tim, one day when I see you, I'll tell the story about my Demacat. My Demacat.
Squirrel.
No, my Demacat.
Demacat.
I had a cat that was I'm not going to say what it was, but it never gave you any love, but it always wanted food. Wouldn't let you pet it, wouldn't hunt anything, but it always expected food.
Yeah.
It was cold, it always expected to be taken care of. Now, it's the most aggravating cat.
Freeloader.
Yeah, it showed up pregnant too. Took care of all the kids. Took care of everything.
Were any of the kids
Any of the
worth
kids?
their salt?
Yes. Bella
Okay.
was amazing. Bella would hunt everything. You'd walk outside and she would have carcasses everywhere. Squirrels,
Yeah.
moles, birds.
So I think we need another Bella to take care of Loco.
Well, look, whenever Bella's mom died, Bella took off. She's like, I'm free. I don't take care of that cat anymore. I'm gone. She was gone the next day.
Yeah.
Like, free at last, free at last. So,
Kathy wants to know if you've considered a pellet gun or a slingshot.
I'm
really surprised that this squirrel is still alive 3 feeders in.
I have thought about it, but my neighbor kind of likes the squirrels. My wife loves watching the squirrels. So,
But this one squirrel,
but if I took out the squirrel, I'd be afraid that I'd be in trouble with my neighbor and my wife.
you can't Vlad the Impaler Loco.
It's possible that it might accidentally happen. It might accidentally happen. Darcy's going away this weekend. Just get a window when no one's around.
Should we clarify for Barbara Jean, are you spewing anti-cat propaganda, or is it just this one particular freeloading cat that you have a problem
Just the
with?
one freeloading cat, Barbara Jean. The other cats, Tigger was the coolest cat in the world. If you were in the yard, Tigger would find you and come sit next to you and just like, hey, I'm hanging out with you.
Yeah.
Me, my neighbor, Tigger was just a cool cat. Didn't want to get petted very long, and if you petted him for too long, he'd bite you. That was just his way of saying, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Every morning we go out and have coffee outside and we go, hey, I wonder where Tigger, and immediately Tigger would pop up outside the screen porch and start meowing till you let Tigger in. Tigger would come in, hang out for a little while, and then Tigger would go.
Yeah.
And my daughter taught him the only way off the back porch
Mm-hmm.
was to jump up on the bench and then jump up on the window at the sink.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would have to open the window at the sink. He would come in through the sink window and then down and out the house. If you opened the doors that human beings used, called him, pointed at him to come in the door, he'd just look at you like, I'm not allowed to use that. I got to go through this window.
That does not exist.
I go through this window and I only go through this window, and that is it.
So Tigger would go out the kitchen sink window.
That's it. Tigger was kitchen. And as Tigger got older, I felt bad for him because he would have to jump from the countertop height to the floor. And it's like, you could just see him like, that's a long way. And I'm an old. So,
You're a contractor. You didn't build him a little handy cat ramp?
no, because he had to slide down the face of the dishwasher, which made it even worse. Because like, oh my gosh. Yeah, Kathy, I do need to seize the moment.
Don't know what happened to Loco.
I don't see
There's
like
a real happy gator in the
Ever
back.
since I put that new bird feeder up, he's just hasn't been coming around.
Demoralized him.
Well, then we have a leaning tree in the front yard.
Mm-hmm.
And so this weekend I watched a squirrel. It may or may not have been Loco again. Go grab the magnolia cones,
Mm-hmm.
take it up on the tree, chew on it to get the seeds out,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then I go to cut the grass. There's literally 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 magnolia cones that have been obliterated that
Yeah.
are just, it's like, dudes, can you pick up after yourself? I'm not like mad about it because you just pick up a little bit. Do you have to leave everything all over them? They're just,
Well, magnolias are just messy trees to begin with.
yes. Well, I just want the squirrels not to just make a mess. But anyway, so that's my loco story. All right. The craziest story of the weekend for the second time this summer.
My weekend was good. Second time this summer.
How was your weekend? Did you have a weekend?
Sort of.
Did your kids let you enjoy the weekend?
Sort of. I had to host the second birthday party I've had to host this month.
You're just like on a birthday party spree.
Yeah, my husband and I had a pattern.
I bet you did. Is the other one 2 weeks from now?
No, January.
Okay. All right.
We hadn't established the pattern yet.
Kind of broke the pattern a little bit?
No, she was the first one.
She was the first one?
We hadn't
You're
established the
saying
pattern.
you got more consistent as you got
Yeah,
older.
we
Okay.
did.
All right. Got it.
She put us on a routine.
See you next September. Okay. Got it.
Yeah, so we were told that this child wanted a bubble party.
Mm-hmm.
We did not know what that meant. She could not articulate what that was other than, I don't know, I like bubble machines.
Okay.
So we're thinking that's 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Bubble machines outside.
Yeah.
So we figure out decorations. It ended up like the decorations turned out really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon can deliver anything to you,
Including bubbles.
including tiny little balloons that look like bubbles.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like there's bubbles all over my house right now. And so we're sitting there like, okay, how are we going to entertain 20 kids for 2 hours with bubble machines? And I was like, the only thing I can think of is those foam parties we would have in college, which is like this foam generating machine drops it into like essentially a very large inflatable above ground pool situation. So then you'd have like 4 feet of foam and then you dance and you play in the foam. So it's like, that's all I can think of. I know that those things are rentals. So we priced it $400 for a foam pit. So that's out. But in researching it, it was like, okay, well, my husband's got the millennial disease if it can't be that hard. And so we start searching on YouTube for a DIY foam machine
Mm-hmm.
to see if we can make our own foam pit for my daughter's birthday. And he did, and it was wildly successful. Super easy and cheap, by the way. And now know how Disney makes their foam snow for downtown Disney. And so we could probably figure that out with a couple of modifications. It was amazing. Then the only problem was it wouldn't stop raining. So everyone gets there. Like, we have this whole plan. It's all decorated. It's going to be amazing. We trial tested the foam machine. The kids freaked out. They loved it with our kids. And now they're super excited to share it with their friends, and thunderstorm. So about 30, 40 minutes into the party, the rain finally broke, thunder stopped, and we were able to go out. And they played in the foam for an hour.
And had a blast.
Had a blast.
So
I'm exhausted.
there's a way to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recommend it. Bobby Brady tried it in the Brady Bunch.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever seen the Brady Bunch?
Is it the washing machine thing?
It's the washing machine. You overload that and then the foam goes everywhere.
So it's actually super simple.
Yeah.
And it steals from something that we've all done.
Mm-hmm.
We've all blown bubbles in our chocolate milk, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a leaf blower and a brand new, never been used trash can,
Mm-hmm.
all you need is water and Johnson & Johnson baby shampoo to make a bubble solution. Ratchet strap a towel on top of it with a hose to your leaf blower in it, and it blows bubbles into that bubble solution, which is then forced through the towel, and it makes foam. And it's just mountains of foam. It's so fun. The kids are running around. They had it on their heads, like wigs from the founding fathers and beards, and it was up to their knees. It was so deep.
I take it back, Mrs. Patrick Henry. You are a nerd.
Yeah.
It's a great nerd story, but yes, Bobby Brady did it inside.
I'm not doing it inside.
Bobby Brady.
We almost had to do it inside because of the storm.
Yeah.
But my floors would have been very clean.
The other good movie, which you'll never know, Barbara Jean, and some of the older guys will get it. Bobby will get it. Mr. Roberts. They blew up the laundry in the movie, and it was just covered with suds downstairs, down in the bottom of the ship.
Yeah. My backyard now smells like a baby's butt.
Mm-hmm.
Johnson & Johnson.
Wonderful. That's going to stick with.
So we'll find out if that helps with mosquitoes or not.
All right, so you did nothing this weekend. Okay, got it.
My goodness.
Not a thing that Amanda did this weekend.
Birthday.
Not a one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, you should be so lucky your daughter meant real Bubbles and not Bubbles the monkey that Michael Jackson owned.
Oh, no way.
That would have been horrible.
No.
Because then your backyard would have smelled like monkey butt.
If our faces even were intact so we could smell.
Yes.
Ugh, so chimpanzees, dude. They'll rip you apart for fun.
All right.
Big story this weekend.
Big story this weekend.
Yes.
Second assassination attempt of President Trump. Comments.
This is the world we live in now. It's wild. It's so disappointing. It's not shocking because people have been saying for years that the rhetoric needs to calm down and we need to stop demonizing each other and talk about ideas. And doesn't matter. So this is what we have. We have a morally relativistic society where the ends justify the means, and we've demonized one side and one particular person on that side as the enemies of democracy, whatever that means in the moment. And that's what we have now. So it's open season.
I hope it's not open season, but unfortunately for me, the rhetoric on one side, and I keep looking at this, and if you're on the left of issues, I'm not saying that everyone on the left is like this. I'm not saying everybody on the right is a certain way either. There are certain people within that are manipulating, and it's politicians, right? When Trump won, he broke the mind of certain left politicians.
Dude.
To yell at people and have them chased out of a restaurant because you disagree with their politics
is not America.
And then whenever you compare them to the worst possible person in human history, and their followers are his followers, again, not a good message. So somebody who's a little unhinged, which I think the person that did this is a little bit unhinged, right? I'm not a psychologist. I mean, one of his neighbors said, yeah, he was cuckoo, but I didn't think it was that crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would do something like that, right? So whenever you have that rhetoric and you continue to drive that rhetoric home to fire up your base, you might win an election, but you're unleashing something. You're unleashing hatred into the discussion. For all that has been said against people on the right, no one ever took, no right-wing nut job ever went after Obama. We're supposed to be a racist country, but no one ever went after Obama. There's not been one single story.
Nor should they. We're not borrowing trouble. We're just...
Thank God there wasn't, right? I'm not challenging. I'm saying thank God that people on the right disagreed with Obama, but didn't have somebody that crazy. You had someone shoot up, a Bernie Sanders supporter, shoot up the baseball practice for the congressional baseball game. One of the few things that
Republican practice for the
Republican practice. Is this where the Republicans are practicing an open fire? Steve Scalise almost lost his life.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. Those of you that are saying, well, we're here to save democracy as the party of the left. Right now, you're ruining democracy. Right now, you so disagree vehemently with somebody that doesn't share your views that you're willing to shout them down. You're willing to cancel them out. You're willing to use lawfare against them. You're willing to do all of these things in the name of saving democracy. At the same time, you're destroying democracy, right? Nobody on the right is doing this stupid stuff. Hillary Clinton broke laws, never was prosecuted. Joe Biden broke laws about how to keep records and what's classified and what's not, never prosecuted. Donald Trump, however, prosecuted. So, I mean, I look at this stuff. I think you guys on the left, you need to calm this stuff down. And I'm sorry that there are good left-leaning. I count Lenny as one of them. I can have a conversation with Lenny all day long. I love talking to Lenny. We disagree with one another, but I love the conversation. And that art is gone in our society with a percentage on both sides. But the people on the left tend to take it a little too extreme. And they take it extreme because their sources that are feeding them are lying to them and manipulating them.
Yeah.
And I count that as the mainstream media, and I count that as the news. So I don't think this is the last attempt on Trump's life.
Yeah.
This is just a horrible situation that we find ourselves in.
Mhm.
That people on one side cannot accept the candidate that another side wants and are willing to try to terminate that candidate's life. That is absolutely abhorrent.
So in Gladiator, they say to Maximus, they can't kill you. They have to ruin your name. They have to kill your name before they can kill you.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard it changed somewhat, and it's, they try and destroy your name. If that doesn't succeed, they try and jail you. If that doesn't succeed, then they try and kill you. So I've been hearing for a year, ever since the lawsuit started to not go the way they wanted to go, that it was now looking like they were going to have to take that third step. And I didn't want to believe that we were in a country that was true. And it seems like that's what they're trying to do. They've destroyed Trump's name, or they tried to make his name toxic. And they pushed so hard that now people are getting over that. And even people in entertainment. I mean, they tried to get Elton John to disavow Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why did they try and do it? Because he's a celebrity. He's famously homosexual. So they just assumed that he would be mad that Trump called Kim Jong-un Rocket Man. So in a recent interview with Elton John, they asked him if he was annoyed that Trump used his lyrics in his rhetoric against a world leader. And Elton John did not give the answer they wanted. He's like, he's come to my concerts. He's a big fan of my music. Like,
He's a
that's
friend.
fine. I don't
He's
care.
a friend, and I thought it was funny.
Yeah. Like,
Which
he didn't
blew
care.
minds on it, because anything that Donald Trump says or does, if you're on the left, you're supposed to hate it.
Mhm.
If Donald Trump came up tomorrow and said to the left, if I win, I am going to open the border,
Mhm.
they would start tomorrow building a wall.
Well, they've already started. They've already talked about it. I mean, I just didn't want to believe that
Donald Trump said, I want to give billions of dollars to the Ukraine. They'd stop funding tomorrow.
single payer healthcare.
To be gone tomorrow. I mean, that's the thing that just, it amazes me. Whenever they celebrate Liz Cheney and Dick Cheney endorsing somebody, they wanted to throw Dick Cheney's butt in jail
Mm-hmm.
the entire
That's
time.
all we've heard since
Yeah.
2003.
He's a war criminal, and we want to throw, hey, we got Dick Cheney's. Oh,
Yeah.
so the war criminal, the guy that you thought was a war criminal, endorsed your candidate. Congratulations.
And Kamala Harris was asked at an event, and she actually answered about Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney's endorsements. And she bumbled through her answer, but she eventually got out that they're great leaders and that she was happy to have their endorsement. Since when?
Mhm.
Since when did she think Dick Cheney was a great leader?
Never.
Never. And it just proves, and this is why when people are like, how can the Republicans possibly embrace Trump as their candidate? It just proves it doesn't matter. If you are standing opposite on the line from a Democrat, you are the worst human to ever exist, ever. And the second that you step to their side or even close to it and you're useful for their cause, they immediately forgive you and they embrace you. It's ridiculous.
Mhm.
I've
No.
got a question for 5 questions.
I'm working on 2 right now because I never listen to you when you talk.
That's true. Until I tell a story about Patrick Henry and call him James Madison.
I did see
You listen to
you
that.
were wishing I hadn't listened to that story.
Listen to
Please.
that one.
You were like, I don't have a point here. I'm going to throw out a name and Mike won't listen to this. And then I did listen.
I did
so-
have a point, and it did remind me of that. I just got the name wrong.
Oh,
It's the right story.
I love it. No, listen,
I'm terrible with names.
I would never advocate for anything other than beating a political opponent at a ballot box.
Mhm.
The things that have been advocated for, and I have seen people who I disagree with politically out and around town. I have not gone up to them and ruined their evening or their dinner. That's just inappropriate. I've seen people that I 100% agree with. I wave at them across the restaurant. If they're out to dinner with family, they got their own moment. Right? That's called being respectful. And that's part of what else the left has lost in some of they're not respectful. You're immediately called the worst, vile name if you don't agree with them. That is not how you win an argument. That's how you try to intimidate somebody and coerce somebody into believing what you believe. That's not democracy.
Mm-mm.
That's intimidation and bullying.
And Bobby asks if we think the attempts will cease if Donald Trump is elected.
No.
I'm afraid they'll ramp up at least until his inauguration. And that is terrifying to me that's terrifying just on a human level for what that would mean for him and his family. But as an American, that's terrifying to me for what would happen in our country should they succeed. I would hope that he would follow through on some of the things that he has said that he'll do, which is rout out the corruption in these agencies. And if they're too corrupt to be able to be cleaned, then to shut them down, because I think that would be one way that you could stop it. But you can't put the genie back in the bottle. Once you radicalize people and they feel empowered to, one, become famous as a hero, and two, to be the one that stops the next great dictator. Like, they're trying to be a hero. There's nothing you can do.
I have a warning for people on the left. It's not the people on the right that will come get you. It's the people on the left that you radicalize, that if they actually do the things that you want them to do, they will not stop at Republicans. They will then look at everybody in government as the enemy, and you will be the next one on the list. If you wish to see examples of this, you just have to look at the Russian Revolution, where you ushered in a communist revolution. Then people that were part of that eventually got purged and killed. The French Revolution is another example.
Well, you don't even have to go to another country, and you don't even have to go back that far back in history. Joe Biden just put on a Trump hat. He was pandering. He went back to what he knows, pander to the person in front of you. He was pandering to the person in front of him. He did it as a goof, and obviously it wasn't an endorsement. People on the left went ballistic, and he went from Joe Biden's a hero and saved this nation by stepping aside selflessly.
Our generation's George Washington.
Exactly. To what an absolute dirtbag he is because he just stabbed Kamala Harris in the back. No mention to what she did to him, but like, you don't even have to go that far back. They're already throwing Joe Biden under the bus because he was photographed with a MAGA hat on as a goof. I don't actually believe he hates Trump as much as he says he does, but Joe Biden, but I don't believe that he's in any way supporting Trump, although some people are making jokes that Kamala Harris backstabbed him so bad that he's going to endorse her.
So there is...
Endorse Trump.
There's a funny one as a political cartoon this week of Biden leaving Marine One. And he's stepping off Marine One, and he's got the Trump hat on. And one of the aides looks to Kamala and says, "I don't think we can have him campaign for you anymore." He might have done it just out of spite for what happened to him. And if he did, that means he has more cognitive ability left than I thought he did. That's all. I mean, well, if he did that out of spite, he had more cognitive ability than I would have given him.
Because of that hat picture, people are now talking about how much Joe Biden doesn't like Kamala Harris because of how hard she went after him in the 2020 debates. I guess they were in 2019, but the 2020 presidential cycle, she went after Joe Biden hard, and she called him a racist. She implied he was a rapist, said that she stood with the woman that, because believe all women, she stood with a woman that came out with a story, a grotesque story about claiming that Biden had assaulted her. Like, she said she believed that woman. And Jill Biden, from what people are saying now,
has never forgiven her for it and did not want her to be vice president. But because of events of the summer of 2020, they were kind of backed in a corner. Barbara Jean mentions Walls' family endorsing Trump. I heard that Walls is now listed as a person of interest in an investigation involving corruption coming from China.
So who knows, dude? It's wild. It's wild. What you looking at?
I'm looking at award shows. You said stuff about awards, and I got sidetracked.
Kamala Harris debuted another accent at a gala over the weekend.
She'll figure out who she is eventually.
Great.
Look, you know,
are we going to elect someone that's going to find out who she is in the White House?
I'm going to take a positive spin on this. We have someone in the White House who doesn't know who they are as president, right? Who doesn't remember where he is and what he's doing. If she wants to be in there and overachieve with multiple personalities, I'm actually okay with that if some of them are functioning. Because we don't have a functioning president right now.
I don't think they're I don't want her to be functioning based on what she has stated she wants to do.
Yeah. Barbara Jean's right. Waltz's entire family is endorsing Trump.
Yeah.
This says the 75th annual Emmy Awards delivered an audience of 4.3 million viewers. High for Fox as it became the network's most watched Monday. This says Monday Unscripted. I get it was on Sunday. This is an old one.
Yeah.
But it was a new low for award shows. I'm assuming that's I love it when you ask for a certain.
That's 2024.
That's 2024?
Yeah.
Okay. We can live with that. Yeah, I haven't watched an award show since the actors and celebrities.
That's January 16th, 2024.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's
but we just had the Emmys.
I think the Emmys just happened.
Emmys just happened the other night.
What number Emmy is that?
I don't know, but how can you have 2 Emmys in the same year? Maybe people are just tired of watching the Emmys.
Let's see. 18 hours ago, humdrum ceremony. All right.
You're on
the
this.
Levies. The Levy father and son were hosting it.
Yep.
I don't know if this has ratings, but it looks like they're calling it boring. So Variety is admitting that it was a lackluster Emmy
If Variety
ceremony.
says that about it, it's got to be bad.
Variety would never lie.
Well, I'm just saying, if they're not going to cover for you, then
so that was a review. I'm trying to find ratings, and I'm not getting the numbers. I'm just getting a bunch of reviews. Graded it a D+.
We'll find out tomorrow.
It felt like a rerun, not a good one. So I'm just getting reviews. I'm not getting numbers.
All right. So we've talked about likes and dislikes a lot and how we shouldn't do that politically. So let's just lead off with a question where you can dislike something. Not hate, just dislike. Most disliked college football team.
You answer first.
Oh, I know. Yours is probably going to be Florida State. And that's okay. And we had Clemson's number for a long time.
Yeah.
For a Florida State fan, it's Miami.
Well, so you have to remember.
Torturously Miami.
I was a Clemson fan in Florida during the lull of Clemson not being a strong team.
Yep.
And so nobody knew who Clemson was at that point. It felt like, to me at least, nobody else had a Tiger. I think there was one other Clemson fan in our area that we would occasionally see. So it was like a big deal if you saw a Clemson Tiger on someone's car.
Yep.
And then if anyone asked who you were rooting for in a game, then you would get dirty looks and people would treat you like garbage because I was in Seminole country. It's in the panhandle of Florida.
Yeah.
So I don't like FSU.
That's okay. I'm okay with that. I still love you. See how we can dislike football teams and still like one another.
Yeah.
Not getting that raise this year, though. I can tell you that much.
I haven't gotten a raise ever.
That's going out the window.
So Miami for you.
Miami for me. Andy, although they're whooping up on the Gators the last few years, is still not over the Spurrier years. There's another week I'm banned from the diner. I mentioned his name on the radio. I said something else about Georgia. I'm not going to be able to go to the diner for a month if I'm not careful. I got to watch what I'm saying.
Not without cookies. You better get cookies before Darcy leaves.
It's not like picking on Davey when there's no repercussions.
There's repercussions. You just don't know about it.
Gets mad at me.
You just don't know about it. It happens in the shadows.
All right. It's been raining a lot. A ton. What's your favorite thing to do on rainy days that you can speak of? I'm trying to keep it classy, San Diego.
I like to do movie nights.
Yeah.
popcorn, like buttered popcorn, snuggle on the couch with a blanket, watch movies.
If it's cooler outside, not if it's like blazing, I don't mind sitting outside, reading and listening to the rain.
Oh yeah.
Um,
I don't have a covered. I have a hammock seat, but it's not under the eave enough that I can do it in the rain.
we got that really cool screen porch on the really
Yeah.
cool on the back. We spent a lot of time out there when it's cooler, but yes. So it's hard to during the summertime. It's hard to sit out there when it's 95 degrees and raining and lightning. But
Yeah.
so cooler out there. It's kind of nice, and then I can watch the squirrels epically fail trying to get into the new squirrel feeder.
I have realized what Barbara Jean wants from you for Christmas.
Oh my gosh. Okay. What am I? Are you going to tell me now?
Yeah. She wants to hear you say skull.
Skull?
She said it. There you
I
go.
did. Skull. I don't even know if I said it right, but I said skull.
I don't know either. Is that the
Oh,
way you
was it
pronounce
right?
it?
I think it's
Skull?
skull.
Skull? I don't know.
Skull. Pretty sure. Watch YouTube. Bobby's consistent. All right. Worst rainstorm you've ever been in?
Worst rainstorm I've ever been in.
Because we've had a lot of rain lately.
We've had a lot of rain.
We've
lately.
had a lot of rain.
I'll tell you the coolest rainstorm I've ever been
Give
in.
me that story.
All right. I was on a 133-foot tall ship for a whale research trip when I was in college. We did classes on the boat. We learned how to sail. We did research.
Is this the one where you had to like put your rear end off the boat to go to the bathroom? That boat?
No, we had a stick shift toilet.
Okay.
Which was below decks. So there was a super windy, rainy day that I was out on watch, and it blew up on us real fast. So we had our jib out. We need to go out on the bowsprit to pull in the jib. So we had to gather it and we had to tie it off. So it was a 2-person job. One person had to gather the jib up, the sail. It's a small triangular sail without a boom. So somebody had to gather it up, and the other person had to knot it. And so the two people on watch that were willing to were me and what would be my college boyfriend's ex-girlfriend. So the two of us, we knew of each other.
Which series of Below Deck is this on, and which episode?
He wasn't on the ship.
All right, okay.
We never had a thing. I just knew that she was the ex, and she knew that he was interested in me currently. And so there was like a weird tension, but we never like got into it or anything. And there was never any crossover between us. There was about a year separating us in relationships. So I volunteered to gather the sail, and she knotted it. So I was straddling the bowsprit upside down in crazy wind. The ship was just rocking. So it was, all I could see was sky. All I could see was water. And I was holding the jib while she was knotting.
Were you tied to anything?
Yeah. We had our safety harnesses on.
Okay.
Which were essentially the like crossing guard things that also had a rope tied to it that you would clip in.
Yeah.
So if I fell, it would have snapped.
Okay.
But it was my safety harness.
Well, as long as there was an illusion of safety.
Yes.
All right.
We knew it wasn't going to help us.
So my favorite kind of rain-soaked day is Darcy and I were on our 10th anniversary in Vermont.
Mm-hmm.
We were hiking one day. Wasn't a very strenuous hike. It was just up this little Mount Peg and Mount Tom.
Okay.
And we got about halfway up one of them, and it just started pouring. And we're like, well, let's just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So we did one, came back down, did the other one. I was like, okay. And it was just, we were soaked to the bone. But we're like, we're already wet, so there's no need to go back. Let's just go ahead and get this done. So
yeah.
And then I'm like, Kathy made a couple comments. I've been in driving range where you had the windshield wipers on full.
It didn't matter.
And you couldn't see 2 inches in front of the car. And you're like, man, maybe doing 65 right now on the interstate's not a good idea.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those are some bad storms.
But you never turn your hazards on. Don't do that.
Do not turn your police.
My question was, when was the last time you were involved in a police investigation?
When was the last time that I was involved in a police investigation?
Was it when you were almost arrested because you were in the wrong spot after a hurricane?
That probably is the last time I was profiled that day. I looked like somebody who may or may not be up to mischief just because I had a bicycle and a backpack. and it was an evacuation zone.
Yeah.
No, but the police officers of the city were great. They were amazingly nice people. Tense moments for them because they're trying to figure everything out.
Yeah.
I didn't. I recognized that, hey, I just need to kind of be nice through all of this. My two favorite moments from the whole thing is I had a friend who had lost a family member, and in the middle of them asking me all these questions, I said, I'm not going anywhere. Give me 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And I went over and gave the guy a hug, told him I'm sorry I lost a family member. And they were cool about it. I didn't get tackled when I walked away, right? And I told him, I said, he's just lost a family.
The absolute chutzpah on you to be like, I'm not running away. Trust me.
I've got a friend who lost someone, and I was being serious. The guy said, I know this seems, but I need to go. And the guy was only like 4 feet away. And I think by that point in time, enough people had come over on the island and were yelling my name. Hey, Mike. Hey, Mike. Hey, Mike. It's like either this guy is like given stolen property to all of these people, or they really all know him. So, and then the other was at the end of the conversation when it was all said and done, and I thanked them, and they were great guys. And I said, hey, if I had mentioned I know the current chief and I know the incoming chief, would it have helped? Mm-hmm. And the police officer gave one of the best deadpan answers I've ever heard anywhere. He said, every time we pull somebody over, they're best friends with the chief. It's like, well, I'm glad I didn't use that line. I'm very happy I just kept it to myself. And like I said, the very, very polite, just one of those situations you kind of get yourself in that, and the person that ratted on me is one of my best friends now. So that, it was like,
it's pretty funny. It
is funny though, because something will happen. Like he'll go be doing a favor for me, and I'm like, as soon as you step foot on a property that I own, I'm calling the cops and it's trespassing. Can you do this favor for me? Yeah. Hey, don't forget when you're halfway across the yard, I'm calling the cops. So we have a lot of fun with it. We've laughed and joked about it, but yeah, I mean, just one of those. I didn't take offense at it because I knew the situation, and their job is to protect people's property. I got that, and they were just trying to make sure I wasn't one of the bad guys, which I'm not.
Yeah.
I hope.
This weekend, I was involved in a police investigation.
What happened to you this weekend?
Foam party was crazy. No, I'm kidding. There was a hit and run that was reported to a police officer next to a facility where I work. Mm-hmm. And I had to facilitate the surveillance cameras getting pulled and share, and I had to share it with the police officer so that they could get the right person. So they detained someone initially based on the first video that we found on the surveillance cameras, and it turned out that was the wrong one. Mm-hmm. We had to get more surveillance footage to release the suspect. It was a whole thing.
How long did it take?
The whole thing probably took about 30, 40 minutes. But the suspect wasn't with the police officer for that long. Mm-hmm. They were probably with him about 20, because we were working in the shadows before the suspect came back.
But you did figure it out.
Yes.
Got the video of the person that did the wrong thing and got the other person.
Yes.
Exonerated.
Yeah. Well, they did not do themselves any favors. That was the wrong time, wrong place, wrong time. Men are so cocky with parallel parking. It's like you guys think it's a challenge to get as close as you can without hitting. And so the person that was the initial suspect, the known suspect, so the person who actually did it, we don't know who they were. But the known suspect got within millimeters of this person's bumper right after it had gotten hit. And so we're like, okay, well, we know it got hit. We look past. From the video footage, it looked like he hit. It looked like he hit twice. And so we were like, all right. So that's why that dude was stopped. But somebody was like, no, I swear it was a gray car when I heard the noise. And so when they said they didn't do it, we're like, okay, well, we'll scan the cameras to see if there is this phantom gray car. And turned out there was. Yeah. But yeah, it was a whole thing.
I had somebody that disregarded all the laws of safety, cut across 2 lanes.
Yeah.
And I had to slam on brakes, and I caught the tail end of their car with the front of my truck.
Yeah.
There's heavy traffic in both directions. And so the police get there, and the first thing the person says is, he was doing 30 miles an hour. And I looked at the cop and I said, if I was doing 30, there'd be no tail end to her car.
Yeah.
And then I said, and also if I was doing 30 and I hit the brakes, where's the marks on the road?
Yeah.
He said, we've already figured that out. I said, okay. All right. I'm just telling you, I didn't,
Yeah.
I said, if she had gone a little faster across the road illegally, I'd have missed her.
Yeah.
But I said, I just didn't have time. There was no time to stop her doing anything. She cut between two cars. Somebody waved her across.
Yeah.
Just never looked.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I can go. I'm always hesitant to wave people across in heavy traffic. I'm like, if you wave them and then they don't go when it was clear and then they do go, they're like, well, he told me to go. And I'm like, you're on your own, man.
It's a super awkward position to be put in, to be like, there's surveillance cameras. I need the footage from the surveillance cameras.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you're like, am I ratting de facto on somebody? But
no, you're actually, you're helping somebody solve a crime.
So we were able to notify the person that their car got hit,
mm-hmm.
and that there was an investigation for the hit and run. But the person that got detained briefly was none too pleased.
I wouldn't have been either, but I would have said, hey, there's a way to figure this out. If you got video evidence, you should better figure it out.
Yeah.
I'll wait here for a few minutes.
Yeah. Was not that patient.
No, most people aren't anymore today.
Yeah.
Which is why I got out of my situation at the Bridge of Lions and didn't have to go back to
because you were very patient.
Because I was very patient. I answered every question and I was not rude.
Turns out there's not a lot of construction work while the evacuation zone is still active.
No, but when they're trying to figure out who you are and you have like your A.D. Davis shirt on and your A.D. Davis hat on and they can look up that it's Vernon. I mean, it's like, I had like 17 forms of ID with me, most of them the paraphernalia that I was wearing. So, yeah. All right. Tomorrow, Davey's here.
Yes, he is.
Davey is going to have to answer another burning Taylor Swift question. So just, you guys tune in tomorrow.
Do I have to answer the Taylor Swift question?
Maybe. We're going to do this. Yeah.
I know the answer.
Andy, I know, Andy. I'm sorry. Not really. Andy, it was funny. You have to admit it was funny.
I told him he has to come with cookies next time. I'm trying to help you out, Andy.
Well, I've also been told that I have to give the cookies to staff and not to Andy.
I think
I walked in and gave Andy the last batch of cookies, and then everyone said, you had one job. You're supposed to give us the cookies, not Andy. You blew the one job.
So he needs at least 3 cookies, and the chocolate chips on top have to be UGA.
I don't know that I can do that. I'll try.
They don't have to. You don't have to spell it out on 3 cookies. Each cookie's one letter. That way you can FSU your way through it.
I don't know.
You don't even have to put them in the right orientation. He can.
I'll see what I can do.
It can be GUA.
I'll see what I can do. I'll see what's possible out there. All right, you guys have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow. Dave will be on. Tune in the morning show in the morning.
Sure, why not? Bye.